Hi, hello, welcome or welcome back. Today's video, I'm going to be doing a ringing in the new year booktube tag. I'll take the creator below and I'll also take Bookstalgic's channel. She had tagged me in it. So I'm very excited to answer all these questions here. The first one being the best book or series that you read in 2023. I think that the best book I probably read in 2023 was Tin Man by Sarah Winman. And a series that I had finished this year was the Broken Earth series by N.K. Jemisin. I definitely want to read more fantasy next year. I don't want that to be the only fantasy series that I have read and finished, so it's definitely on a priority list for next year. So the second question is authors that you've discovered this year and would like to read more from. Sarah Winman is, of course, one of them. Kate Goldbeck is a romance author that I had found. This is a debut from her, but I really enjoyed this and I look forward to reading more from her. And then Lily King as well. I read both of these from her this year. Absolutely loved it. I have her short story collection on my shelf that I have to read in 2024. And then other than that, I read Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. I'd like to read more from him. Vera Kurian, I read Never Saw Me Coming. She has a book coming out in 2024 and it is A Step Past Darkness. So I'm really looking forward to that one. And then Abby Jimenez, I read some of her romances, really enjoyed them. As well, Ian Reid, I read We Spread, and I'd like to read Foe next. I watched the Netflix adaptation of I'm Thinking of Ending Things, so I'm not too keen on reading the book just because I've seen the movie adaptation. And then I read Acts of Desperation by Megan Nolan this year, really enjoyed it, so I'd like to read some more from her. So the next question is best book turned movie/TV adaptation this year or one that I'm anticipating for next year, or both. So this year I had watched Knock at the Cabin, which if Google is correct, I believe that was a release for this year. And that was the film adaptation for The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. I didn't love the book, but I really liked the movie. And I went in very hesitant and skeptical just because I didn't enjoy the book, but the movie turned out great. And the one I'm looking forward to next year is Force of Nature, which is a film adaptation, I believe, of Jane Harper's Force of Nature, the book. The fourth question is, have your reading habits changed at all this year? And have you gotten into any new genres? Yes and yes. So for my reading habits, well, I started my Booktube channel this year, so my reading habits have definitely taken an uptick in the amount of reading that I've done. So obviously I can make videos talking about the books that I'm reading, but also I find that I have consciously been trying to listen to more audiobooks lately, and audiobooks are like a love-hate thing for me. It's something where like I need to listen to a specific genre or a specific kind of book for me to really get immersed into the audiobook. And I think a habit that I've adopted with my reading is, or maybe I've adapted my reading habits, I'd say. I've always tried to make time for reading, but I think something I've adopted is being more self-aware while I'm reading. And what I mean by that is when I'm reading a book, consciously thinking about like what I'm enjoying about it and what I'm not enjoying about it, rather than just like passively reading. Because there's some books I can think back on where I've just like kind of passively read and been like, oh, that was fun, that was fine, but I can't necessarily pinpoint like what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. And for some people, maybe that takes the fun out of reading, but for me, I like to think about like, what are some themes that I'm seeing in this book? What do I like the writing? Do I like the characters? Also in part because starting my Booktube channel, like when I talk about books, I want to constructively be able to talk about them. I think that that's the most important thing to take into consideration when you're reading is how is your experience with that book when you're reading it? Are you enjoying it? Or is it having like an emotional impact on you, like a mental impact, like whatever the case may be. So I think that's been a really positive thing that I've changed with my reading or have incorporated into my reading habits, I think. Have you gotten into any new genres? Yes, I definitely got more into romance this year and literary fiction, which I'm really happy about. I have some fond memories with some romances, and then of course some literary fiction that I've talked about extensively already. So the fifth question is favorite ship, romantic or platonic of the year, or new favorite character. This question is very timely because when I did my favorite books of the year video, I talked about Chloe in Vera Kurian's Never Saw Me Coming. Really enjoyed following along with her character. I think she's one of my favorite female characters I've read. It was just such a ride to be in her mind and follow along with her in that book. The other character I think I really enjoyed following along with is Daly in Father of the Rain. I just really liked seeing her character arc and her character development. This might just be more of like a personal connection to the character potentially, but I just very much enjoyed seeing her get in touch with her inner child, and that was a big theme within this, in a good portion of it with following along with Daly, is seeing her reconnect with her inner child and do things that her inner child maybe missed out on, or pursuing things as an adult that maybe looked really different to her as a child. But I really like this. You know, this isn't necessarily a happy book per se. I would say that it's very much an emotional book for sure, but I really liked Daly's character in here a lot. Favorite ship? I'm just trying to think. You know what, this might be a weird answer. I think that the relationship I, platonic or otherwise, enjoyed following along with was Chloe and Charles in Never Saw Me Coming. They both were psychopaths in the book and just had this really weird relationship and like banter with each other. It was very, very strange. But other than that, a romance, which I feel like is the appropriate answer for this question, would be Ari and Josh. I liked how they were just total opposites of each other. I enjoyed both of their characters individual from each other, but I also enjoyed them together as well. The sixth question is, have you started planning your TBR for 2024, and how many books do you hope to read? I'm hoping to read 52 books next year. That's my goal every single year, just one book a week, which is pretty on par with my reading habits, I suppose. And that's with like a standard length book of like 330 pages. And have you started planning your TBR for 2024? Not really. I don't have like super structured TBRs every single month. I utilize my local library a ton, as you can see all my library books on my shelf. And so I am kind of in part at the mercy of whatever is available to me month to month from my library. I'm a mood reader too, so I just kind of read what I feel like reading. But I do kind of have some overarching TBR goals for myself next year. One of them being getting more into fantasy. There's a couple books that just come to mind that have been on my TBR for a while, one of them being Jade City. And I'd really like to tackle a Robin Hobbs book. The seventh question is, will you participate in any reading challenges or readathons? Yes, I would absolutely like to. In Farah's video, Bookstalgic, she had listed a bunch of reading challenges within her video description, and I was like, oh, that's so nice, because now it's all just in one place, and you know, I don't have to like scour YouTube to try and figure out what challenges are going on and whatnot. So definitely go check out her video if you're also interested in taking part in some challenges. There's Read What You Own. I definitely have some books on my shelf that I have not read before, and I really should be reading them. And then there's Asian Readathon, Pride Readathon, Garbagus, which I've never heard of, but that sounds like some fun. I can definitely think of a couple of books off the top of my head that would fit this reading prompt. It's just reading fun, trashy books is the description in her video. So thanks, Farah, for listing those in your description. Helped me out a ton. The very last question is, any New Year's resolutions or goals, bookish, content related, or otherwise? You know, I don't think I have any for like books wise, other than just kind of trying to dip a little bit more back into fantasy, maybe pick up a new fantasy series. But as far as content goes, I don't think I necessarily do. I feel like I've got good flow now, and I've kind of caught my footing with when I record my videos, when I edit them, and the posting date. I used to post on Saturday evenings, and now I've switched my posting day to Thursday evenings. I just find it works a lot better with my personal life and just filming on the weekends and not feeling pressure to post on the weekends on the same weekend that I'm doing the filming. It's really easy to find filming time in the summertime because the days are really long, daylight is around for an extended period of time, but in the wintertime it's more difficult with the shorter days. So I think I've just kind of gotten into a little bit of a flow, and I think I'm still tailoring kind of like my own style and like content and videos that I like to post. I had told myself when I started my booktube that I'm just going to give it a really good old college try for a whole year, and so August will be my 1 year next year, and so I'll just kind of evaluate at that point and see, but you know, I'm just gonna kind of keep doing what I do and post once a week, maybe twice a week. I don't really know, but so not really necessarily any goals that in that way, but just be consistent, make sure I'm enjoying what I'm doing on Booktube, enjoying what I'm reading. This was a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Farah, for taking me in this. I think by the time I post this, it will be the first week into January of 2024. So I hope you all had a really happy new year and a really great holiday season too. As always, I hope you're really enjoying what you're reading and have a great day.